Nice.
So we are live. Thank you very much, David, for staying with us in a webinar. We are really interested. Our community really is very interested in this kind of product in Tempus.finance. So we have been reading a lot of your Medium projects, and we have a lot of expectation about that. So David, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
So I think the first thing that you can do is to briefly introduction into Tempus. I know that it's not easy project to explain in a nutshell, but I think is very sometimes when I explain the product, it's like the big market, one of the big financial markets that we are going to enter in crypto. But can you explain for our audience and our community in a
for sure. Well, at Tempus, what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a decentralized version and a decentralized alternative to what are interest rate swaps in traditional finance. Interest rate swaps are basically one of the largest kind of derivative in traditional finance. They have an outstanding notional of something like $800 trillion. So they're definitely a giant market out there, although they're normally traded OTC. They're highly customized trades that are entered into between a bank and the company to exchange fixed and floating cash flows. But that's not really compatible with DeFi, because you want something to be more fluid, and you don't want to always negotiate with a counterparty that you have to trust. So basically, we're trying to build a decentralized equivalent of that. In a nutshell, what we do is we take an interest-bearing token, for example, staked ETH on Lido. We lock it into a contract with a fixed maturity, and then we split that staked ETH or any other interest-bearing token into two different primitives, one of which is a principal token, the other one is the yield token. And then we allow those two tokens to be traded against each other through an AMM that we custom designed on Balancer, which allows for a bunch of different use cases. That's basically, in a nutshell, how the protocol works.
In terms of the user, as I understand, the not sophisticated user will use, I think, Tempus as a fixed deposit or fixed income, as I understand. No, Tempus will offer like a return on ETH, on USD. What are the first product that probably a user that is not sophisticated can find in Tempus or will find?
Well, I think it will be really easy for people to get a fixed rate yield on Tempus. The way that we designed it on the UI side and on the UX side is we wrap all of these transactions into one transaction. So as I just explained, we take an interest-bearing token, for example, staked ETH, that gets split into principal and yield tokens. And then the way that you transform a variable rate into a fixed rate yield is you exchange your future yield into more principal that's provided by somebody else, so that you basically, on real life financial terms, what's happening here is you're taking this unknown future yield that's basically a zero coupon bond, and then you exchange it for somebody else's principal in return. So people are reallocating the risk of interest rate fluctuations between each other. But going back to your question, I think it's going to be really easy for people to get it because we wrap all of these transactions into one transaction. So the deposit process, and then the splitting into the two primitives, and then the swapping between the principal and yield is going to be one atomic transaction. So what people see on the UX side is just the fixed rate yield. They see if they deposit X amount of ETH, they see the fixed rate yield is 4.5%, and then they can just deposit through a click of a button and get the 4.5% yield that's redeemable at the end of the term. So it's going to be really easy for people to get that, and I think a lot of people are going to be interested in that offering for sure.
So we can expect in the case of Lido, like 4.5% of return probably would be.
No, that's that's the beauty of the product. It's we will let the market decide. The market always. So when people trade back and forth between the principal and the yield, the exchange rate always changes. If the swap is being made, similarly to how you trade any other tokens, the more swaps are, the swaps are happening between the principal and the yield, and then that adjusts the market implied yield, which is also the exchange rate between the two tokens. And we expect that if the yield drops and the exchange rate drops, somebody else will come in who anticipates that interest rates will go up and buy more yield tokens. So the market will always balance itself out.
Okay, and for the DGen user that expects like a lot of return, so we can expect probably to be very leveraged on this interest rate, probably or no?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if somebody is the beauty of this product is like it's we take the interest-bearing token, we take the staked ETH, for example, and then you use that token to provide liquidity to the platform. You use that to trade the yield. You use that to provide liquidity to the AMM, as I just said. So I think if people are already, let's say, staking on Lido and they just want to get some additional yield on it, but they're willing to take a little more risk, they can definitely do that. And there's probably like a wider range of outcomes there. Maybe you lose a little bit more, maybe you win a little bit more, but for sure, for some people, I think that's going to be very attractive.
Okay, perfect. So we were interested in, let me first of all share the screen. This AMA was basically also to explain the ambassador program, because I think this is an opportunity that you are really explaining. So let me see if we can see yes, I think right now it's okay. Yeah. So we're interested because we are like one of the biggest, the more active Spanish community. People were interested in how can be an ambassador. Can you explain first of all what is an ambassador of Tempus, and we can later explain how to apply to that.
Sure. Just to give you a little bit of background about what is the ambassador program, we thought that as an early stage protocol, it's obviously very important to get the community on board as soon as possible, probably even before the testnet launch or before the mainnet launch, just to try to get people on board, get people to provide feedback for actually when the testnet comes. And by that time, it's also like it's a good idea to have some form of community before then. And we thought, like, what's the best way to incentivize people to help out about like spreading the word about the project in general without having our own protocol token, because we know that DeFi, especially given its competitiveness nowadays, is a very incentives-driven business. So people are, they want something, even if it's just a token of appreciation, something that they would receive in exchange for helping out. And this is how we came up with the idea of the Tempus Sers, which are basically an NFT project that has a little more higher than an 11,000 supply. And what we do is we have missions in stages, and people who complete these missions, they get whitelisted to then mint one of these Tempus Sers.
These missions is like content creative missions, or are they like transaction missions, like to test the product? What kind of missions do we have to do an ambassador? Because as an ambassador, I was thinking that you have to present the product to other people, but it's not. You have to test the product to be an early tester. What's really
so we do it in stages. So we do like the first version, the first mission was basically just retweeting something and then basically tagging your friends in one of the posts, and then the second mission similar to that. And I think like as we get to mission 10, it's going to get harder and harder for people to get whitelisted for these NFTs. And what we want to do with this program is to select people who are actually really passionate about the project through all of these steps. So in the beginning, it's easy to get an NFT, but not a lot of people will get to mission 10, for example. And those people will be the ones that are really the ones who are really passionate about the project, and those are the ones that should be rewarded the most. Anybody can participate in the project. It's open access, but we just anticipate that as we get towards the end of it, where you actually have to test the product, you have to provide feedback, then I think the base of the the ambassadors will start to, the number of the ambassadors will start to decrease over time.
Okay, there is any limit in the number of ambassadors are you going to select, or what would be the process of applying?
Yeah, so
there is an application form, so you have priority here to apply to the ambassador program. But is there a limit, or how? What really the conditions or?
Yeah, that's right. So at the start, anybody can apply to be an ambassador. They will be whitelisted to complete subsequent missions. So as I said, like anybody can join in the beginning and then get some of these NFTs at the start, and then as we progress through time, we get to mission 10. It will be harder and harder, but it's a very open access program. So even if you're just a normal DeFi user, or just somebody who's interested in crypto, and have friends who are interested in crypto, or you're just in this ecosystem, for whatever reason, you can join and you can start doing these things as long as you have a Twitter account, Discord account, and are willing to help out with testing, with spreading the word. I think it's a very easy way to get some of these NFTs, and also participate in the community, which is growing very fast. So our community is actually pretty nice already.
Okay, so there will be some. I understand that there will be some is international, so it will be different languages, no? In which probably ambassadors have to talk about the product, or to yes. So yeah, we will apply. We will try to do the Spanish version of our Spanish community.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm excited to have the Spanish community as well. We have a very active Russian and Ukrainian Discord channels. We also have some pretty active Chinese Discord as well, and also Telegram. So, of course, we're very excited to have the Spanish community as well.
So we have a lot of questions. I don't know if we want to reply, to try to reply of them. So let me do the question. Yes, what blockchains networks will Tempus work with?
Okay, that's a good question. So Tempus will launch. Basically, Tempus is reliant on basically the blockchain having significant liquidity in a protocol or in a certain pool. And the reason why Ethereum is attractive to us is that, for example, on Lido, I don't know at the moment, but there's several billions of dollars of liquidity being locked in a single pool for staking Ethereum. That's good because that shows that there is a lot of money in there, and that can indicate that there's a lot of appetite to fix that yield or to speculate on that yield. And even if we at the start we get a a small percentage of that on launch, then it's very attractive to us. Obviously we are aware of these issues that like transaction fees in Ethereum. The network is pretty congested right now. There are some layer 2 scaling solutions, but in our case, it would make sense to wait until there is significant liquidity on Optimism, on Arbitrum, or something like that. About other blockchains in general, I'm kind of blockchain agnostic, so we don't have a strong opinion about which one to go to. But we will just have to wait and see where the liquidity is and just deploy there. So that's our strategy.
Okay, one question that I forgot to ask you is, what are the dates about the ambassador program? The dates about the ambassador, the dates about the launch. So can you explain in order to see, we have to apply
right
before?
Yeah, so the thing about the ambassador program is that if you go on our Discord, you will be able to see everything there. That's the current announcements about it and everything. We don't have a cutoff date for applying to the ambassador program, so people can join even when we have mission 8. But the condition to receiving an NFT that is given out as a result of completing mission 9 is that you complete all of the previous missions before. So it's better to join earlier and start participating now rather than to join later, because it will be difficult for you to complete all the previous missions in order to get to the current one. And so I would advise people who are really interested or want to try it out or see what it's about to try to go and do it now. About the dates and the launch I can say it here that we're targeting a testnet launch somewhere at the end of next week. That can change, but we're really trying to get it out at the end of September. I think next Friday is the 1st of October, 30th of September, yeah, 1st of October. And we'll probably spend something like a month on testnet and then get the feedback from the community and try to launch on mainnet as soon as possible, hopefully at the end of October.
Okay, perfect. So we have more questions. Oh, this is a very, very open question. What are the project plans for the next 3 years? I don't know. I think that 3 years in crypto is like, I don't know, 20 years.
Yeah.
Finance.
I think that kind of ties in. I mean, it's really difficult to answer that question because we don't know where DeFi will be in 3 years from now. But obviously, we're all very bullish on DeFi. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. But basically, I think in 3 years' time, hopefully we'll be at a place where we have significant liquidity being locked in Tempus pools. There is a lot of back and forth activity through the AMM, so there's significant yield being generated by the underlying activity in all of these pools. Our TVL is high, and ultimately we don't just want to be this protocol that offers this interest rate speculation and fixing your yield and everything else, but also we want to be a protocol that is sort of like a one-stop shop for people who are new to DeFi and they just want to get a fixed rate yield, or they want to get a variable rate yield, and they don't really know too much about whatever are the underlying protocols. They can just come to Tempus, and it will be really easy for them to go and kind of dip their toes in the DeFi waters.
Okay, well, the next question is about security. DeFi projects are hacked very often. Tell me, how do you ensure your project so that it happens? What is your project more reliable than other DeFi projects? Do you have some audits? Probably you are working on that, no?
Yeah, so our first audit just finished last Friday. It was done by CoinSpect. We are just in the stages of fixing some of the minor issues that were flagged to us. Basically, there were no critical issues identified, and we will share the audit report with everybody as soon as our code goes live. We will also have another audit on Code Arena that will be in early October. So that is kind of like a community outsourced audit. So people who are auditors themselves or just interested, they can all participate. There will be a $50,000 pool that will be distributed by Code Arena among the participants who managed to find some issues in our code.
Okay, we have a lot of questions, but I have to select one of them. Yeah. So how can else the ambassador help in the development of projects? So as I understand, we are going to help in the testers, or
yeah. So I think like the big chunk. So we've only seen the very early stages of the ambassador program with these retweeting and spreading the word. But I think like as we get closer to the later missions, the focus will shift to providing feedback on the project. So once we have the testnet live, which is hopefully end of next week, we will have missions that are tied to providing feedback on the UI, on UI UX, or just flagging issues, just trying to try all the buttons, see if you like it, provide some meaningful feedback. And the more meaningful feedback that is provided to us, the more rewards you're going to get as an ambassador.
Okay, there are a lot of questions. One of the things is, what are the difference, or what are really what advantage Tempus have over other DeFi projects in a deep crypto winter? I hope we were not entering a deep crypto winter.
But I hope not. Yeah, I mean, I think like I would really try to emphasize two things here. First thing is like capital efficiency. So we got a $50,000 grant from Balancer for building our own AMM for our principal /yield token pools. That is I think that kind of shows that how much effort we're putting on capital efficiency. We're not just using a basic Uniswap V2 pool that's an X times Y equal K, but we actually have thought long and hard about how to design an AMM that is a lot more efficient than that. So I think capital efficiency is one of them. And then the other one, I think that is also very important, is just the UI and the UX. And then we're putting a lot of emphasis on making this DeFi project, even with its complexities, very accessible to everybody who's not really familiar with these derivatives or not really familiar with any sort of, you don't necessarily, as a retail user, you don't necessarily need to be aware of what's happening in the background. You just want to know that you click a button and you're getting a fixed rate yield, and it's really easy for you to get there. So I think we are really emphasizing that, putting a lot of effort into developing the UI.
Okay, well, another question that they are asking is about, ICOs. Really, this is not an ICO. What do you expect? What do you expect with the launch of the token? Because I think probably you are going to have a token. You are talking about the NFTs that probably they will play a role in the protocol. But that will enter also deliver some tokens, or it will be only an NFT to have some privilege in your project. Yeah. What are you really thinking about, and what would be the token launch?
Right. I guess two questions there. First question is like the NFTs themselves. So we want the NFTs to be more than just a picture, right? Okay. I mean, I don't want to criticize other NFT projects. Yeah, but we want it to be more like a JPEG, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it a little more interactive. So we've thought of various ideas in which we can give the NFTs more value than just the aesthetic value, and that is, for example, we will definitely create an artificial floor for these NFTs by making them exchangeable for our own Tempus protocol tokens. The exchange rate is to be determined, but people will be able to exchange them for Tempus tokens. So people who actually want to get our Tempus the protocol tokens, it is actually a really good way to participate and be an early tester, try out the protocol, provide feedback, participate in the ambassador program. Because even if you're not interested in NFTs, you can be sure that those NFTs will be exchangeable for the Tempus tokens in the future. The other question ties, I think that's more about the token itself. I can't really release too much information about the token at this point. We will have a token, and we are working on designing it and making sure that it works. Just bearing in mind the current practices and see where the industry is going with governance and everything. And as soon as we have something more concrete, I will definitely share that with you and also with the community, of course.
Okay, we have to spend not more than 30 minutes. So there are something that I haven't asked you that it's really relevant. Something that you think we have to say to the people who want to know more about the ambassador or the project?
I think on my side, I think that pretty much covers it. What we're going to do is we will so people who have asked us good questions, they also, the top 5 questions, I think will be actually awarded some Tempus NFTs as well. So just make sure you hop into our Discord and follow the instructions over there.
Okay. Well, there are other questions. Yes. This is probably more how principal and yield will be integrated in the Tempus ecosystem without splitting on better or worse for the user's perception. Will it be tied to any additional variables? Well, this is a very deep question.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I can give a little more. I think for these more technical questions, it's very useful to have a read of our docs and also our Medium posts that we wrote about all these primitives. But what I can say is that in principle, and kind of just simplifying things a little bit, both principal and the yield tokens are zero coupon bonds. That the only difference is that principal tokens are zero coupon bonds that mature to a known amount, which corresponds to however the amount of money that you put in at the start. And then the yield tokens will correspond to the amount of yield that accrues between the start date of the pool and the maturity date of the pool. And then they are basically, by locking the underlying yield-bearing token, we can make sure that both tokens are worth something. It is just for the market to decide how much is the yield token worth. And that will be shown by the AMM. I hope that answers the question.
Yes. Now, this is a very, very good question. With whom you are planning new integration and partnership in the future? So if we are talking about to the Spanish crypto project, what kind of integration makes sense and can really add value to crypto projects? Probably like crypto banks, I imagine.
Yeah. There are a number of, I think I can touch on a couple of things here. The first thing is I've just published a Medium article about vault products. So one of the limitations of the current protocol design is that even people who want to get a variable rate yield would have to deposit into one of our pools with a fixed maturity. And maybe that person doesn't necessarily want to just put their money in a pool until a certain maturity date and then take it out and then deposit to a new pool. So I think one of the key integrations that we're going to have is with vault products, and vault products can be built on top of Tempus. People who provide liquidity, they can deposit onto a pool, and then based on whatever is the highest APY, they can redeploy it between different pools, or they can split it evenly across many Tempus pools just to make sure that they're always yield farming. And then that way people wouldn't, like variable rate depositors and liquidity providers wouldn't have to worry about which maturity date is when. I think vault products is definitely one of the potential options out there, and we're going to put a lot of emphasis into trying to build that ourselves, or either or get somebody else to build it for us. But another thing would be just all of these dashboards, and we want to be able to cater to all of these institutional staking providers, for example, or just people who are new to DeFi. So I think there's a lot of avenues there. The main targets are people who are already staking their ETH through Lido, or they're already lending on Compound or on other protocols. So I think anybody who uses Compound Aave through InstaDApp or one of these other integrations will be able to go to Tempus and then do it there. So we're trying to also talk to providers like InstaDApp, for example.
Okay, so you have 2 minutes more. So we have to. So finally, I think the conclusion is we have to apply to the ambassador program. We have to do these missions. That yes, I think it's been really profitable to help the projects. We have been recently the DYDX airdrop. So
all right.
Yeah, it's really amazing, this kind of thing. I think
it can be rewarding to be an early supporter of any project, basically. But I think the DYDX airdrop really proved that for sure.
Yes, Uniswap, I remember in the past. And in this case, that is a project that I think have a lot of potential, and also to know more about the project, how to use it, because I think this kind of mission probably will finish understanding better your project. As I understand, you have.
We're also trying to educate people. Exactly, we're trying to show people how the project is being used, how to interact with it, how to use different interfaces, and then provide feedback and then get rewarded for it. That's what it's about.
Okay, so thank you very much, David. We have more questions. We will join to Discord.
Yes, please join our Discord. We have a very active Discord, and thanks very much for having me.
Yes, we will replay also. We will have a Spanish community in order to replay in Spanish. And yes, thank you very much for your time. We expect to see a lot of more, and I think that we will have a lot of Spanish users join to the missions. I hope we can achieve the level 10. Okay.
Well, I'll see you in Madrid for sure.
yes, I hope to come to our crypto forum in November. Would be great. Yes, to meet with our community. So thank you very much, David, and stay in contact. And thank you all
Thanks
the
so much.
people for the question. Really thank you for all and all.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right, bye-bye.